finally able to close out my Victober reading for the 1001 book countdown. Let's get to it. Hi everyone, I'm Sandy and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a 1001 book countdown for you. That is the final books that I had on my TBR in October. One was for Victober, one was just an October read that I didn't finish until the first week of November. But I'm excited to share those books with you today. If you're not familiar with the 1001 book countdown, I will leave a card up here for you where you can go and check out the original video. But basically I'm reading books off of Peter Boxall's 1001 Books You Must Read Before You Die list and slowly making my way through that massive project. It has been taking me, I've already been working on it for a number of years, and I anticipate that it will take me 15 or so more to make it all the way through my list. So hopefully you consider giving me a subscribe and seeing how far I make it on my massive project. It is a big one, but I'm still having a huge amount of fun working my way through these. But for today, what we will go ahead and do is put up the numbers, which are 842, which is my main number out of the actually 1,315 books that I have to read. And then the bottom number, which is 10, every year at the beginning of the year, I pre-select 52 books and try and get that number down to 0. It makes me feel like I'm achieving something to see that number hit 0. And right now I'm at 10. Yeah, so I haven't made it to 0 any of the years that I've been doing this, but this year may be the year. I'm holding out hope. I think I could do it. I'm close. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, but wish me luck. I have a lot of reading ahead of me in the months of November and December in order to complete that goal with, 10 books, and then we'll see what the update brings us today. But I do have a good update today. The first book that I'm going to talk about is this one, To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. So Virginia Woolf is one of the most well-represented authors on the 1001 list with 9 books. And I have read one other one and DNF'd one. She has the honor of being in the DNF category. This particular book was published in 1927 and is largely a stream of consciousness novel. It's broken up into 3 different parts. The first part is called The Window, and then Time Passes, and then To the Lighthouse. So in the first part, we're really getting an introduction into this family, the Ramseys, who are out on vacation at this area, and they have the lighthouse in the distance, and the children always want to go to the lighthouse. And so far, in the beginning, they're trying to figure out when they can go. And the big thing with that beginning part is it is 100% stream of consciousness and style. Sometimes you're in Mrs. Ramsey's head, sometimes you're in one of the people, the guest's head, sometimes you're in the servants' heads. I mean, you are all over the place. And not only does it switch perspective, it switches perspective sentence to sentence. And so that first section was rough for me. I loved reading about the Ramseys and kind of learning stuff, but there was one particular section that it switched perspectives like 10 times in a single section of the book. And for me, that was a lot. Now, I have to say that part 2 of this book, phenomenal, absolutely gorgeous. As we end up in Time Passes, we are in a very big time jump. You find out pretty brutally you find out pretty quickly what happens to a couple of the main characters from the first part of the book. But the way that part is told is really, I think, what makes this book one of a kind. It was just so beautiful how she described time passing through the effects that time had on their home and the area. I just really enjoyed that second part. If the whole book had been like the second part, I would say that this is a 5-star read, one of my favorite reads of the year. As it was, it didn't hit that mark for me. In the third part, we're back with the Ramseys. Time has passed, but not as far as what it was in the second part, and we're back to more of that stream of consciousness type of style of writing. And I did have an audiobook to help me through some of that, which was narrated by Nicole Kidman, which was wonderful. Very happy that I had that audiobook to help me get through some of those sections. And I would say from a stream of consciousness part of it, this novel actually worked better than some other ones. I mean, it wasn't like Mrs. Dalloway for me was just so difficult. This one was actually very well done, and I did enjoy it quite a bit more than something like Mrs. Dalloway. But that second section of this particular book really is what made this book special for me. But I'm still not sure about Virginia Woolf. I think the stream of consciousness in general is a difficult style, is absolutely a difficult style for me. But I think I ended up giving it like 3.5 stars, but a lot of that was because of the second section, which I loved that second section. But with this book, we do get to go from 842 to 841, and it was on my 2023 list, so that number goes from 10 down to 9. I'm officially in single digits. Woohoo! Very, very happy about that. And I have another book for you. Oh my goodness. So the next book that I have is actually this one, The Castle Richmond by Anthony Trollope. I apologize, there's going to be a big glare on this particular one. This particular book was published in 1860 and is a standalone novel. It's one of 5 novels that Anthony Trollope wrote that were set in Ireland. And in this book, we have the Fitzgeralds, the Desmonds, we have some other characters in there that are helping out. But we really, in the first part of this book, are just learning about the Fitzgeralds and their relationship with the Desmonds, the cousins, and who's going to marry who, and who's offering for who, and who promised to marry whom in what portion, and when they were children or now, or what, why, kind of a thing. About the middle of the way of this book becomes very dramatic and very soap opera like, and I was kind of surprised because it would have been, for the time that it was written, it would have been scandalous, this book. And so I enjoyed that, and thinking of people in the 1860s reading this particular book and going, oh my gosh, because it had some twists and turns and some characters in it. There's some characters you're not really sure what their intent was, and some characters that you hope make a good decision that may not make a good decision. There's some people that are doing the honorable thing. There's also, it talks about the famine in Ireland as well, which is definitely difficult. There's some really difficult scenes in it, but overall, that soap opera-y drama of this particular book was so good. I ended up giving it 4 stars and really flying through the second part of this because I needed to find out what was going to happen to the main characters in this book. And there's one character in particular that I can't spoil, but I was so happy with the decisions that she was making that just made me feel wonderful about it, because there were some opportunity for people to change their minds and do some things that maybe they shouldn't have do, or were they only after someone's inheritance and things like that in this particular book. And it was really refreshing to kind of see that play out on the page. Very interesting. I think it was a great standalone novel, and I'd say it was a good introduction to Trollope. I've never read any Trollope before. Now, Trollope does have 4 books on the 1001 Countdown, but 2 of those are part of bigger series. So one of them is the book number 6 in the Barsetshire Chronicles. Book 6, it's like, oh my goodness. Okay, I have the Warden on my TBR for next year, which is book 1. So I have a long way to go to that one. And then there's another one that is book 2 in a series. So yeah, I'm not sure why Boxall likes to put books that are as part of a series and later in the series on that list, but that is what happened with some of the other ones. So this is my first Trollope. I will be reading more. I'm gonna hold back my full opinion on how I feel about Trollope until I have read some more. I know it's an author that is hit and miss with people, and so, but this particular book, I was pleasantly surprised. It did, fair warning, it does take a bit of time to get into the meat of the story, to where it gets past the just daily routines of people's lives and things like that, to get to a point where you're like, oh my gosh, what is going on? But it was a great book. I did really like this book. But with this book, we do get to go from 841 to 840. I can't believe I'm almost in the 830s. And it was on my 2023 list. So I get to go from 9 down to 8. Unbelievable. So happy. 8 is, it feels reasonable by the end of the year, everyone. I think I can do it. I think. I'm really trying to push, though, to read more in November, because I have the Remember December reading event coming up where I really want to focus on some rereads. So I have a bit to do. As far as what's coming next, I have started North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell. That will definitely be the next one that I will work on. That is my book club pick for the month of November. And then I'm starting Aaron's Rod by D.H. Lawrence. So yeah, that one will be kind of the next 2. If I could get both those done, I'd be down to 6. Yeah, I'd like to get at least, oh man, I'd like to get at least two more. I don't know. I'd like to get that number down to five. So anyway, please let me know in the comments down below what you think of, if you've read To the Lighthouse. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you've read Castle Richmond, is that a good representation of Trollope's writing? Or is that a one outlier and I'm going to struggle through the rest? Love to hear that as well. But as always, like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, everyone, thanks. Bye.